Welcome into a Monday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show, live, powered and driven here by Go Chevrolet, online at GEAUXChevrolet.com. Stop in and see our friends over there, whether it's Lee Carney and Nick Richard out in Laplace for brand new cars, or if you're looking for a used car, stop and see them at Go Express Auto Sales. Got a jam-packed show. We'll talk to Ross Dellinger coming up here at 8 a.m. and Jay Cicero from the Greater New Orleans Sports Foundation with their annual giveaway, which is always a buzz amongst sports fans, a great opportunity to be a part of Louisiana sports with the Greater New Orleans Sports Foundation giveaway that they do every year. Their president, Jay Cicero, will be here at 8:30 this morning. We will also talk to Ross Dellinger after covering the SEC spring meetings last week. We've got a text into Jacques Doucette, who's down in Hattiesburg, to see if we can't get set up for a Game 7. The best term in sports, the 7th game of the Hattiesburg Regional, coming to you this afternoon at 3 o'clock. Winner take all, with the winner an opportunity to host a super regional in play. It was figured out last night with the Coral Gables Regional, with Miami being bounced Ole Miss and Arizona in the finals of that regional. Arizona's got to beat the Rebels twice down in South Florida to move on. But whoever wins today between LSU and the Golden Eagles will host a super regional next weekend. So a little bit more intensity on the line this afternoon after what was an amazing LSU baseball weekend. I don't know how to describe the weekend that LSU baseball experienced over in Hattiesburg, just with the emotion, the comebacks, the big innings. We'll talk about it all coming up here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Make sure and hit that like button, share button, comment button. We appreciate you starting your week and your Monday here with us. You got Lloyd here. Stewie is here.
Yeah.
Bree, Jamil, and Noah are here. All until 9 a.m. this morning as we will talk the weekend sports. It was a NBA Finals last night, knotted up between Golden State and the Boston Celtics. We'll talk a little bit about that one before we get out of here at 9 a.m. this morning as well. Recap some of what Brian Kelly had to say last week at SEC spring meetings and more on Jarvis Landry, the New Orleans Saints, and all-season training activities that's happening down in Metairie on Airline Highway as the Saints prepare for year one under Dennis Allen. Everybody had a good weekend.
Good weekend.
Good weekend.
We all made it here.
Weekend check.
Yeah. If we make it on a Monday, everybody's good, I think.
The Carpool Queen will be out all week. She is traveling with friends as they take off on a little midsummer vacation here. She'll be back next week. She'll be right back out, so she'll kind of be in and out for the next couple of weeks. Lloyd is here, as we said, and we will be talking all about what's going on we'll start with LSU baseball. LSU baseball this weekend, it's incredible what they accomplished both on Friday and Saturday night. Just some of the stories. Friday night, they had a huge 10-run 8th inning, which LSU was down going into that game 11-4. Going into that inning, they were down 11-4, and after a huge 10-run 8th inning, they come back and win the game. It was the biggest comeback for LSU since 1999 when LSU defeated Eastern Carolina back in the NCAA Baton Rouge Regional in 99. So just to give you an idea.
Did you see some of the stats from our guy? Obviously, Todd Polites knows just about everything there is, but every one of his tweets is just unbelievable, like dating back to the history. Like here, just for an example, LSU baseball wins consecutive games when trailing by 4+ runs for the second time since 1925. Jeez. How does he know that? How do you find that information? Like, what Bible does he have? Like, it feels like it's under lock and key, and he's the only person that has it. It's unreal what he can pull from his whatever history lesson
historian,
he can
man.
teach. Yes.
He's the best.
It's unreal. Every time. He never fails.
The best part about it is the timeliness of it. I mean, it would take me a decade to get that type of research in. It takes him 10 minutes to put out the tweet after LSU on Friday night. After you thought you saw it all on Friday night, on Saturday was as good as it gets for LSU baseball. LSU was trailing 6-2 versus Southern Miss in the bottom of the 9th inning when they came through and got 4 runs to tie the game and then went into extra innings to push this game and take this regional with a 2-0 lead. Josh Pearson had a fielder's choice, which scored Josh Stevenson in the 10th inning. But the 9th inning was really all of what it was about, man. Whether it was Dylan Cruz blasting the home run to get it going, or Cade Doty once again kind of being the big man in the lineup. He had a home run, 2-run home run last night in the first inning to give LSU their first 2 runs of the game. But then Jacob Berry was able to keep that inning alive. It was just incredible to see that action on Saturday night. Now, last night there's a kind of a divided feel around the studio here on what last night meant for LSU. Stewie seems to believe that Southern Miss has run out of gas. That was as good and as powerful of a punch that Southern Miss could have thrown at LSU. They were able to keep the series alive. Last night, Justin Storm came in. He was a reliever for Southern Miss, and he was on fire. I think 15 of 19 batters he sat down for LSU on Sunday night. They will resume this series today at 3 o'clock, and as we said, the winner will advance to the Super Regionals, in which they will host after Ole Miss and Arizona are playing in the finals down in Coral Gables, down in Miami. And then Lloyd said you may have run out of house money, right? Like it felt like on Friday night you were able to rally with 10 runs in the 8th and win game 1. On Saturday night, more gold jersey magic for LSU baseball as they were able to scratch across the 5 runs in the 9th and 10th combined to win the game versus Southern Miss. And then on Sunday, they had no more house money to play with, and the series just kind of shook out with maybe the better team winning. On Monday, 3 o'clock start here, will LSU be able to pack it back up and put it together for 9 more innings with their life on the line? I kind of fall into your camp, Lloyd. I kind of feel like they spent house. I felt like they had to win last night. I thought that if you made this a 1-game series with Southern Miss and LSU,
you're just able to put a bow on it, and then it's like, all right, LSU made it. Like, this is what happens when LSU gets into the postseason. That's that's LSU baseball. Like, they always find a way, regardless. This is just their time of the year. But now it feels like everything created equally. Like, it's just a 1 game. You can kind of throw that out the door a little bit, maybe. I might be overreacting just to 1 game, but when you look back at the way that they've played, if you take out 2 innings, really, they haven't been that good. They've kind of. It's not like they're better than Southern Miss. I think it's to kind of roll the ball out and see what happens. It doesn't feel like LSU is the better team going into it. It might just be me. I want them to win, but it just feels like this is more of a toss-up than it seems to be.
House money cashed up, or will LSU put the nail in it? Put it on the poll, Stewie. How do you feel about LSU going into the 7th game of the series? Remember, our poll questions here on the Jordy Culotta Show, brought to you by our friends over at the Southern Eye Center. Southern Eye Center located on Jefferson Highway. You can stop in and see them, and once you stop in and mention the Jordy Culotta Show, you'll save 25% off on a fantastic selection of sunglasses apparel. Stop in today and pick out your shades for the summer, as there's a wide selection over there at Southern Eye Center on Jefferson Highway. Stop in and see our friend Dr. Ann Shaw. Mention the Jordy Culotta Show, and you'll save yourself 25%. But the poll question is up. How are we feeling going into today? LSU Southern Miss. I wonder if he'll start Mikhail Hilliard. Who knows what Jay Johnson is going to do as far as the pitching is concerned. He plays that stuff pretty close to the vest, but he has. He's gone through some arms here, man. He's run through some guys over the last couple of days.
Southern Miss in the same boat. This is what you have to do to get through the tournament, unless you're able to, win last night. So now they are backs up against the wall on both sides. But I guess over, under 10.5, which I feel like safe bet to go over. Everything's been going over in this series, so I'm going to take at least that's one thing I feel confident in. Otherwise, I'm a wreck about this game. That's what I want to keep the season going. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I would imagine so with just the pitching that
exactly. Yeah, and that's what kind of going to the game yesterday. Whenever you saw the Vegas line, I think it was LSU was only like minus 115, and that's what kind of made my brain start churning a little bit about this. LSU hasn't been as dominant as it seems, even though they're the undefeated team to come into the tournament. They just happened to get 2 unbelievable rallies and. Sure, that stuff happens, but it hasn't been like this has been dominant performances, It's just postseason baseball, anything can happen.
Do you think Mikhail pitches today?
I do.
Oh, definitely.
Because, he only threw 3 innings. So
right.
And I think you start him. Like, if you're going to use him, start him.
Yeah, he has to start.
I don't know why you would, put him where he feels comfortable. You know, I mean, put him where he's been his best this season. And I mean, whether it's the pitch count or where you need to get with him. I think that Kelly and Johnson have done a really good job of managing their arms through the season. So I do believe that you will see Mikhail Hilliard in some capacity today, and I'd imagine that he would start the game if you would see him.
Right, absolutely. And if you don't want to go that route, it's fair to say Mikhail has done both in his career. He's come out the pen also, so he's been multifaceted, and he's been able to kind of be Mr. LSU whenever they need him for the last 4 years. He was out of sight, out of mind, but every time he's pitched, he's been nails. I think whenever we talked to Jason Kelly before the selection show on Mic'd Up, he was like, just the team acts differently whenever Mikhail's on the bump. Like, whenever he starts the game, they take over his mindset. So I think that's probably one of the better reasons to start him. It's like, oh, we got our guy. Like, we got a Friday night guy going. Let's win this thing. Let's take this thing back to Baton Rouge, host a Super Regional because we should have been hosting this thing anyway. And now you see how LSU and Southern Miss, they're chirping at each other. The fans are chirping at each other. Mic'd Up on Twitter is getting they're taking all the smoke. And so it's just been an unbelievable series. But now that you see that you have the chance to host a Super Regional, if you're LSU, I feel like that gives you has to put just that little bit in your brain where you're like, oh, if we can host a Super, now we got Omaha on the table. Like, let's go back to Baton Rouge and show they haven't gotten to see Alex Box at full tilt yet. And this is a great way to get there.
I would imagine that today's pretty easy on the motivational speech for Jay Johnson. I mean, this is what it's all about, man. I mean, this is the day, this is the time, this is why you were recruited to LSU with a chance and your life on the line with an opportunity to put the box back into postseason play and host a Super Regional. I just imagine that it'll be pretty easy as far as the motivational goes for LSU going into today's game.
And then imagine the Super Regional with LSU versus Arizona.
Or
yes. Even LSU versus Ole Miss, because Ole Miss came here and swept. So.
I know. I mean, both storylines. I mean, the fact that you're looking at Jay Johnson's old school as the other opponent.
What had to line up for it to happen.
Or you're looking at Mike Bianco and Ole Miss, who was, widely considered to be the finalist for this job. And at certain points, the odds-on favorite to get the LSU job. And in the last regular season home, series of the weekend, came into Baton Rouge and took 3 from him.
Not only that, but he did it to save his job. He was dead. He was dead and buried. They're going to fire him, and they weren't even going to make the SEC tournament. Now they're making a run in a regional where anything can happen. He comes to Baton Rouge. Unreal run for Ole Miss as well. That saved his job, I would imagine. So great for Bianco because I like the guy.
And Ole Miss is a scary matchup in the postseason because they're so good. This is an Ole Miss special for Bianco, right? I mean, I think the administration probably before the season were like,
it's less
hopefully he'll fall on his face. You know what I mean? And we'll be able to get rid of him. I mean, because 22 years at any institution in modern day college sports is a lifetime. I mean, I don't believe that you will see those types of relationships between school and coach as much as we see that. You're on the back end of seeing a guy like Saban stay at Alabama so long. You may be able to squeeze the 10 years out of Brian Kelly of his contract. 5. Yeah, but I don't think that you get to a decade with him. I just think that the turnover and the instant gratification that not only fan bases want, that administrators want, and there's so much money. I mean, there is so much money that now athletic departments have access to and that they have coming in. I mean, just the SEC network money almost makes you and gives you a sense of we can kind of do whatever we want. We can be irresponsible with our money because, I mean, there's so much.
It's like baseball contracts.
It's just so much of it coming in. That you can really – I mean, Sam Pittman's new contract, if you haven't seen it, to me is kind of what modern-day sports contracts are going to be. I think it's 5-year, $25 million. He's got $1 million retention bonus every year. The buyout is not as, highlighted as an intense as some of these other contracts. It's protected for both coach and – institution. And I think that you'll start to see a lot of that with just because of the amount of money that's at stake. We'll talk to Ross Dellinger about that coming up here at 8 a.m. But it is going to be an incredible day of just baseball to figure out what next weekend's going to be like. Obviously, everybody's pointing towards 3 o'clock to see what happens between LSU and Southern Miss, with the winner advancing and hosting a super regional. But a ton of eyeballs are going to be on Coral Gables to see what happens between Ole Miss and Arizona. Arizona's got to beat Ole Miss twice to advance. Ole Miss just has to win one, as they're 2-0 down there in Miami. And last night, the host team, Miami, was knocked out, so Arizona and Ole Miss will battle it out today with a potential, of 3 games. But if Ole Miss can close them out with 1 win, they'll be moving on and awaiting to see what happens between Southern Miss and LSU. So the environment looked tremendous on television. I know that it is a smaller arena over in Hattiesburg with only about 4,000 capacity. But
the sight lines on that field, you can't see anything down the lines. I have no idea if a ball is fair or foul.
Yeah, I agree.
It's just it's a tough watch. I don't know what you can really do to make the viewing experience better, I guess, other than go. But there's a lot of times when you're just things are up in the air because it's a little crackerjack field. And it feels like everything's going out the park.
It does. I mean, it was, I think that those are the types of venues that you like to visit. But when you get to this point of the year, man, you'd love to have, 10,000 capacity just so you could you could jam so many people in there. But you can tell that it's Southern Miss's first time to the dance. You know what I mean? Like, was it their voice? They like the radio guy who was calling LSU arrogant for the way that they answered the press conference. Huh? Yeah, and then he went full like Tim Brando and Dick Vitale, like calls everybody out. As soon as somebody says one thing about them, they block you.
Or he's like, I don't want to talk about this anymore, and then he keeps responding to every single person, and like, I don't know why I'm on Twitter. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, this is not my arena. But even the production standpoint from the Southern Miss fans, you can like hear. It feels like you can hear the mothers. They're like, nice take, Jake. Good swing. And it's like, I feel like in a high school game, whenever you hear some of the fans, it's just the way it's produced. But it feels like they know that they shouldn't be hosting this regional. And they're so defensive about it that it's showing they're telling on themselves a little bit.
Sure.
USM. I thought they were chanting USA the whole game. And then they come out, the Patriots, like the All-American jerseys, like is there a holiday that I'm unaware of? Yeah. Like, these are the ones that you want to wear? Very interesting move.
Memorial Day was last week.
Right, guys. Yeah, it's either wrong on the calendar.
It feels very high school.
It does.
I'm not calling their team or like their program high, but like when you look at it on television, like the jerseys, the facility,
the camera angles,
like everything about
Cameras
it.
Cameras shaking the whole time. I'm like, what is this dude doing?
Yeah, you got your play-by-play calling people out. This isn't the way it's supposed to go.
The stands are on the foul line, on the third base line. I mean, it's just
it's like an acid trip.
Yeah.
It is weird. It is weird.
I saw one scene. It was like a truck parked under a porch. And I was like, that is so Mississippi. That is the most Mississippi thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, we're in it now, Coach.
Yeah.
Let's get out of there. Come home.
Yeah, get the hell out of there, man.
That's probably what the speech is. Just get the hell out of Mississippi. Right. Either way.
I know you're hearing banjos at night. Let's just get the hell out of here. All right, Daily, we're brought to you by Edward Jones, our friends over at Edward Jones, Daniel Newman, daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. If you are looking to be fiscally responsible and you're looking for financial advice, whether it's investment strategy, 401k, any type of strategy that you're looking for with your finances, talk to Daniel Newman first. Daniel.newman@edwardjones.com is where you can find him. He is located out in central Louisiana at Market Square Arena, right across from Stab, so you can find him out there. Phone number simple as well, 225-261-8262. 225-261-8262 is the number. An experienced financial advisor over there at Edward Jones with Daniel Newman. Daniel.newman@edwardjones.com is where you can find him. As we said, located in central Louisiana, Magnolia Square Drive, right there across from Stab's Restaurant. Phone numbers 225-261-8262, 225-8260, 225-261-8262 is the number. Get in touch with him there. But as we said, most convenient way and easiest way to get a response probably is just to email him. Daniel.Newman@edwardjones.com. Daniel.Newman@edwardjones.com.
Top grading. I'm still blocked by Tim Brando, and I have no idea why. Just caught a little ricochet shot. Like, I didn't even do anything. Just on a block parade.
Brando.
I'm about to get blocked by Brando for saying that.
And Dikembe Mutombo tour. Just, anybody that made eye contact with him on social media,
Blocked.
he would block. No more from you. I didn't even say anything.
I was just in the comments. I'm just reading.
Felt like me yesterday at a Little League basketball game, man. It
Block or charge.
It was the absolute worst display of officiating that I have ever seen. And look, man, I didn't do anything to cause any attention to myself. Just to give you an idea, they had 68 free throws in a 24-minute youth league basketball game.
I think we're in the bonus.
68 free throws in a 24-minute fifth grade basketball game. That's hard to do. Like that is hard to do. They had over 50 fouls called.
How many free throws again?
68. Legitimately. 68. Like you think that I'm like sarcastically putting that number out there. It was legitimately 68 free throws in a 24-minute basketball game. The referee took his shirt off in the middle of the floor with a minute and a half left and tried to fight our coach. It was
Mississippi behavior.
It was beyond. I can't explain it. I looked at Kelly within the first 20 seconds of the game. I was like, this is about to be screwed. They had no idea what they were doing. No idea what they were doing. I didn't say one word to the official during the game. I just kind of stood in the corner and watched it, just like pacing uncontrollably just because of how bad. How bad. We were in the semifinals of a regional tournament. We were in Mobile for the weekend, right? You show up to Mobile, they've got, I believe, 20 courts inside of the Civic Center. It's just like a basketball just a basketball convention happening over there. And you show up to the semifinal games, and you got two guys that don't have any clue about what they're doing. And, one of them's threatening to fight the coach by taking his shirt off in the middle of the floor.
Did he have any wife beat underneath or straight nipple?
Thank God.
Oh, thank God. That would be an all-time move if I'm just going full shirtless.
Yeah, if you were just going shirtless.
Shirtless with the whistle.
But it was the most it was like I said, I hate to always speak in in hyperbole where you're like it was the worst I've ever seen. It was by far. In fact, on the way out, I told him, I was like, hey, man, I'm just going to tell you this. Congratulations. And he's like all amped up. He's like, what you talking about? And I said, congratulations. I have seen shitty refereeing. I said, I've been a part of it for 20 years, man. And without question, you two are beyond the worst I've ever seen. Y'all are, without a doubt, the two worst officials I've ever seen in youth sports. Forget the fact that you're trying to take your shirt off.
What a dagger to take on the way out.
And fight the coach. But, you guys got no idea what you're even looking at. You don't even know what basketball is. I walked over in the third quarter to ask this is a sign to me of the incompetence, like you were talking about. We're just talking about the Southern Miss fans. This, you're showing so much that this is your first time to be here, right? Your social media presence, your radio guy. You are showing how amateur you are at this by paying so much attention. Having the rabbit ears like you do shows that. What are they saying? What are they talking about? What are they saying?
It's so defensive.
It's just we get it, man. This is the first time you're here. But for instance, this official, the scores table is on one side of the table. He's inbounding the ball at the opposite corner, and I had walked around the court. Mind you, there's 25 courts going on here, so there's hundreds and hundreds of people all around these basketball courts, and I haven't said a word to the official, not one word. They have not during the game, have not made eye contact. They hadn't looked at me and said, "Watch your mouth." They hadn't said anything. and I walk around to the scores table and ask the guy who's keeping the book, what's the collected amount of fouls called? I mean, in the third quarter with like 3.5 minutes left, both teams were in the double bonus. I mean, this was going to be like an hour-and-a-half game.
It's a school night.
Which, I mean, like, you're supposed to, like, you know what I mean? Like Noah and I were talking, never in AAU basketball are you ever asking the official to blow the whistle. You know what I mean? Like, or stop blowing the whistle. Excuse me. Like, you're never like, hey, man, like, let him play. You know, like, you're always like, yo, bro, he's getting killed. Blow the whistle. You know what I mean? Like, in this game, 54 fouls. It's 68 free throws shot in a 24-minute youth league basketball game. So I walk over to the scores table in the middle of the third quarter, and I'm asking the guy, I'm like, what's the collected amount of fouls? And, like, you could hear that the play had stopped. And, like, I'm like, I don't even realize the guy is walking across the court telling me to get away from the scores table. Get away from the scores table. Get away from the scores table. I'm like, me? He's like, yeah, you. What you doing talking to the scores? I'm like, I'm asking him the foul count.
I'm checking your work.
Yeah, like, why don't you just watch the game, man? And I told the guy that was running the book, I was like, dude, no bigger sign of an official not having any clue what he's doing than that. Like, being worried about everything else in the arena rather than just call the game, bro.
And it's never too late to fix it, you know? Like, you don't have to keep going down this path of when if we're calling carries at AAU, it's like, we don't call that anymore. But we're going to get all the way to 60? Like, at some point, when you hit 30, you should be like, all right, I got to turn this thing down. Like, let me self-evaluate. Let me self-scout. This isn't going right. Look, I'm fucking it up, all right? But I'm going to change right here. Instead, no, I'm going to double down, and I'm going to make this even harder to get out of it. Like, nobody wants to be here anymore. Like, 68, coach?
Oh, it was unbelievable. Michael John, LSU playing for a super regional host, and y'all are talking about youth basketball. Most Culotta thing ever.
That's right.
Hey, Mike, check out the first 25 minutes of the show, bro. Like,
what
do you want to do? You want to break down every pitch and batter in the game, man? We talked about it for 25 minutes. LSU has a chance to host a super regional today. What, if you were running the show, what would you talk about here after 25 minutes of LSU baseball talk? You want to break down every pitch?
Did they make
from
a
the
lineup
weekend?
change?
I mean, like, get out of here, bro.
Is Dylan Cruz
Wrong
the
show
best
for
player?
you.
Is Dylan Cruz the best player in the country?
We're going to talk to Ross Dellinger coming up here, which he is.
He is.
I mean, that guy. We're going to talk to Ross Dellinger coming up here in 30 minutes. Looking forward to that conversation with Delly as we will get into it about the SEC spring meetings. He was talking to the athletic directors last week from the SEC to get an idea of what's going on from the perspective of their offices, and really interested in finding out what those conversations were like, man. Because it does feel like intercollegiate athletics is on some cliff, some edge of huge change, big pivot coming, right, for intercollegiate athletics. Ross Dellinger has been at the forefront of that. It was Dellenger a couple of weeks ago that was exhausted. He felt like a boxer in the 12th round speaking about writing on NIL stuff. Right, I mean, he was just.
I felt like he was majoring in it.
I mean, it was just it was sucking the life out of why he had gotten into journalism. Dellenger is well respected and constantly recognized as one of the best in what he does. Right, like he is usually the authority on the voice of college football. When he writes, people read. And a lot of his time has been, soaked in transfer portal, immediate playing time, NIL, collectives, money raising, fundraising efforts. All of this stuff that can take a lot of the love of sports out of it for a guy like Dellenger, who really, when you talk to Ross, you can see, he's a very happy-go-lucky guy. He's usually in a good mood. He loves what he does. So last week,
once you see that whiskey emoji, though, he's getting to his limit.
Yeah, no doubt.
If you see him tweet the whiskey out, something.
But sometimes that's a good thing.
Yeah, it's either relaxing or it's like, ooh, you got to hammer a couple.
Sometimes that's a good thing.
Get me through the day.
But SEC spring meetings last week, he was on the front line. He's got great relationships with a lot of those coaches, a lot of those ADs. So we will pick his brain on some of the stuff that he took away from last week, what he anticipates could be coming as far as change on the horizon within college football, and how's this power structure going to shake out in his opinion? Will it be just league mandated and regulated as far as like does the SEC just kind of control their own? Is the NCAA totally removed from the process? Some of those things that we will be asking Ross Dellinger coming up here at 8 a.m. this morning. And then at 8:30, as we said, Jay Cicero from the Greater New Orleans Sports Foundation, who is always putting forth one of the great giveaways. They will be having the same this year. We will talk to him at 8:30 this morning about what it has been like the last couple of years with COVID and with what's been going on as far as their fundraising efforts and some of the events that they usually host. But to give you an idea, the Greater New Orleans Sports Foundation that you can find online at gnosports.com, gnosports.com. If you want to get to the raffle, it's gnosports.com/win. But to give you an idea of what they are raffling away, the raffle offers a grand prize over 380 event tickets from Baton Rouge to New Orleans. Entries are $100 a piece, and only 1,500 raffle tickets will be available for purchase. The winner will be selected on Friday, August 26th. The premier season ticket winner will win 2 tickets to each of the following events: New Orleans Saints regular season home games, New Orleans Pelicans regular season home games, NOLA Gold rugby regular season home games, LSU baseball regular season home games, LSU men's basketball regular season home games, Tulane Green Wave football, baseball, basketball regular season home games, UNO basketball and baseball regular season home games, 4 days VIP passes to the Zurich Classic, 4 VIP passes to the 2022 R+L Carriers New Orleans Bowl, the 2022 All-State Kickoff Game versus LSU and Florida State, and the 2022 All-State Sugar Bowl.
Could literally become a ticket
is
master.
What you get. If you are a business owner, if you are somebody that is in sales, if you are somebody that entertains your clients, if you're somebody that's just a sports fan and loves to go to sporting events, can you think of a better way to spend $100 and have a chance to win all of this? Costs you $100 to enter. GNOsports.com is the website. Log on there. Check out the giveaway. You can sign up for the raffle. Like I said, it's $100 a ticket. The grand prize drawing will be on August 26th. That'll be coming down then. And as we said, only 1,500 of these are available. So get over to gnosports.com where you can pick up your $100 raffle ticket today. When we come back, we'll continue the conversation. We roll on here on the Jordy Culotta Show, always brought to you by Go Chevrolet, our friends over there at Go Chevrolet. Check out the inventory online, GEAUX, Ross Dellinger coming up, Jay Cicero coming up. We'll talk NBA Finals. Jarvis Landry last week turning out to be a really good leader already.
Shocker.
With the New Orleans Saints as he makes his debut at OTAs down in Metairie. We'll speak a little bit about that. NBA Finals last night knotted up at a game apiece between the Warriors and the Celtics. Lots to get to before we get out of here. Yo.
Oh, and also, if you do want baseball talk for 2 hours, if that's what you're interested in, I have a very strong feeling that that's what Mic'd Up will be doing. Are we thinking we going live for the stream?
If
anybody can be here,
yeah.
We might live stream the baseball game from the Mic'd Up channel. Then we'll have Mikey and Jared Mitchell from 6 to 8 tonight to be able to maybe catch a couple of innings. And then they will obviously do a game recap of the LSU series and see if they're hosting a regional. So whoever that was in the chat, you can get your baseball talk. We have it, just a different program.
Michael John.
Dude. Sounds like he gets kicked out of Little League Park.
We'll be back. More of the Jordy Culotta Show. Driven and powered by Go Chevrolet.
True Blue Water, true hydration at its finest. Right now, you're only a few minutes away from getting your 5-gallon water delivered to you, just like we are over here at the UDL. All you got to do is log on to truebluewater.com. That's TRU, bluewater.com. The website's fantastic over at truebluewater.com. You can get your service and find out how quick it is. You can schedule a delivery, even hop on the billing system right there at truebluewater.com. TRU, bluewater.com. Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in Laplace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard.
Hey y'all, it's Mikey from Mic'd Up. Catch us live every Monday and Wednesday, 11 to 1. Talk gambling, talk sports, have a ton of guests in here, get a little perspective from the athlete side of it. We got Lloyd in the house, Jay Mitch is in here a lot of the time. It's a fun show, great show. Please like, subscribe, share with your friends. If you don't like it, it's fine. Make fun of us, it's okay. Just get us out there, share us out there. We're having fun, we want to share our fun with you. Like I said, Mic'd Up, brought to you by Sterling Automotive. Every Monday through Wednesday, 11 to 1. Catch us live on YouTube, baby. See y'all.
Welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Make sure to hit that like button, share button, comment button if you don't mind. It is a Monday here. We are driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Saw yesterday Brian Kelly was hosting his first skills camp of the summer over at LSU. He had his offensive lineman and defensive lineman and specialist camp on June 3rd. Yesterday he had his skills camp on Sunday, which brought a lot of some of the high-end recruits to LSU. And Kelly and his staff are doing a little differently than we have seen the staffs in the past run these summer camps. And I don't know if everyone realized, if you keep up with recruiting, you understand what the premium is that these coaches put on summer camps. But this, for me, was without question definitely like the biggest surprise. I remember when I was getting into covering LSU football, was how much emphasis they put on these summer camps for evaluation. Some of you might be like, well, I mean, what did you imagine? I didn't know that there was so much of a huge push for all of these camps. I know that there is the elite camp that always popped up with LSU, where you would show up on this, these one weekends where everybody in the state, like the Quincy Wiggins and the Will Campbell sighting last summer for LSU on campus. I mean, that type of matchup, you rarely get that with those guys at that age where, they're going into their senior season. Both of those guys are well established. They've got the offers, but there's so much of a premium for these coaches and for staff members to see these guys work out in front of their face, right? Like, you can put your eyeballs on them. You can tell them exactly what you want them to do. You can see them execute that on the field. And this is a huge period for evaluation in a recruit's life. If you are a sophomore going into your junior season and you are looking for Division I attention from big-time coaches, this is the easiest and fastest way for that to happen. This is the way. I'll never forget DJ Chark getting a scholarship offer, and it was outside of the elite camp at LSU, and I believe he was going into his senior season. It was late in the process for Chark. But they lined him up, put him on a 40-yard dash. He clocked, some 4.4, sub 4.4 number. They gave him the testing and skills competition, and, he was just knocking it out of the park. Next thing you know, they got a couple of quarterbacks that are there throwing routes to him, and he's in Les Miles' office with an offer to LSU.
You could probably say the same thing for Justin Jefferson, huh? Like, if he's not able to go to camps, you really don't get to see how good he is one-on-one because – that's how I found out about him. You see him do that kid up on a post route, and you're like, oh, there's another Jefferson. And, you wouldn't have really known because he's a 2-star whatever, but once the coaches can get eyeballs on you, you can change your life.
Tyrann Mathieu told the story right here.
Oof.
He told the story right here about camp life and what it meant for him to get evaluated at Tennessee's football camp in front of Frank Wilson, in front of Lane Kiffin, in front of Monty Kiffin at the time. all of these names, and then they're created a buzz around Mathieu. That just traveled throughout the camp circuit and throughout some of these off-season opportunities for schools to evaluate talent. So I think that look, there's going to be a heavy emphasis on LSU's football staff right now to hand out offers, to evaluate offers, not only for the class of 2023 but beyond. And that's another thing about camps that you're really able to get out in front of is establishing some type of relationship, some type of name, knowing someone's name early on in their process by introducing yourself to them at your camp. Right? There's going to be a youth camp later this week where you've got 6th through 8th graders coming through there, where I imagine there's probably going to be one or two, lineman skill guy that's either, very young, 8th grader type that LSU will see for the first time and either offer or at least just
put on the big board,
establish a contact with. Frank Wilson, nice to meet you. LSU, take my number. Here's my card. Here's my email. If you ever need anything, keep in touch. All of that stuff is able to be planted here on this is kind of the grassroots level of recruiting. Back in the day before social media, before recruiting services, before guys and people that were just
living and breathing it.
Absolutely. Following recruiting. Sam Spiegelman and Julie Boudouin and Shea Dixon, that's a job that just started within the last 10 years where you could pay somebody like that full time to go out there and just cover teenagers and find out where they're going to go to school. We talked to Spiegelman a couple of weeks back. He was in Texas watching a 7-on-7 tournament. 2 days before that, he was
7 in the morning.
He was on Newman's campus hanging out with Arch, who, by the way, was in Georgia this week.
Did you see him in the icy whites, dude?
Looked good
in the all whites. They look good. They had a good little weekend. Old Georgia seemed to be doing something right over there. Mm-hmm. Something's in the water.
If you just want to have a good time in Athens, it's a good place to do that.
Yeah, I would take a ton of unofficial visits to Athens. Yeah. I don't have to put on the uniform. Just in town.
So, this is a huge evaluation period for, not necessarily. I know I mentioned I think that the DJ Charks of the recruiting world, it's very rare to still find somebody of that caliber, still so late in the process, right? Where he's still available at a time like that, where you can go nab a guy like him who turns out to be a first round pick, early round pick. So, but this is a great opportunity for a new staff like Brian Kelly and Mike Denbrock and Matt House and, Brian Polian and
Sloan.
Cortez Hankton. Joe Sloan is a guy, Joe Sloan and Frank Wilson, they've worked this state. They've got really good relationships. They've got really good resources as far as recruiting go within, some of the major hubs of recruiting within our state. Nobody's tied in deeper into New Orleans than Frank Wilson. Joe Sloan, over the last couple of years up at Louisiana Tech, has really developed some inroads in North Louisiana with some high school coaches and some 7-on-7 people and just recruits. Is he recruiting a different player than he recruited at Tech? Yeah, but does he still need the same resources and relationships to access those people? Yeah, he does, and that's where he's a real big benefit on the trail. Real likable guy, can talk football with just about anybody, and knows a lot of the room. It's relationships like this where you're, picking up the phone and saying, "Hey, coach, get a couple of your players down to Baton Rouge over the next couple of days so we can evaluate them in the camp."
Are all these camps run pretty much the same way?
Absolutely.
Like, there's not going to be a big difference in staff between what Orgeron did and what Kelly's going to do?
Oh, I don't know that. I don't know that. I'm looking forward to going out there and seeing that firsthand. I know from watching Orgeron and Miles run their camps. Orgeron was so hands-on. He was down in the mix, getting down like in a 4-point stance with a bunch of the defensive linemen and coaching. That's where Orgeron really is at his best. He really is a defensive line coach. If he was just that. Remember, where was he more likable than when he was the defensive line coach at LSU? He was relatable to all of us, right? He was a South Louisiana, prideful Louisianian who loved LSU football. A lot of us can get along with that.
And loved recruiting.
Right.
You knew he was somebody you wanted on the trail, and that was his big coup also. And that's all fine. And you can kind of do whatever you want. He could have lived the life that he's living now if he wasn't the head coach. Nobody would care if he was out on a Saturday morning or whatever, chasing skirt. If fine, he's a defensive line coach, cool.
Yeah, well, nobody's paying attention.
Nobody's paying exactly. But whenever you're the head coach, that thing plays a little bit differently.
You can't jog on River Road with your shirt off.
Well,
somebody pointing and talking about it. He did that every day when he was a defensive line coach.
Especially when you're 0-1.
Well, he did that all the time, but nobody was paying attention to it, and then you become the head coach, and people want to stop and take selfies with you.
Yeah. Let's get bowl eligible.
But that was where Orgeron, to me, was at his best. And what camp is kind of a gumbo of all of that. It's recruiting, it's on the field teaching, it's relationship building, it's evaluating, it's all of that kind of put into one day, a couple of days on campus. Edward Haskell says these camps will not really matter anymore, Jordy. The ones that are good will be going to A&M with the money sign in the middle of it. Look, I understand that, but what this camp does is give you a chance to meet the prospects that are going to need the big NIL deals early on. You'll meet a couple of 9th and 10th graders over the next couple of, weeks, days, months for LSU football that you can establish and, put an earmark on a name on a board and say, hey, look, we were able to see him at the camp a couple of weeks back. He's going to be a dude. And now with the legislation changing language where the school is able to reach out to business owners and personnel who support the program and, kind of steer deals, big advantage. If you can pick up the phone and you're a recruiter and say, hey, business owner X, especially now that Louisiana has NIL capability for high school athletes. It's a dirty, grimy game. You don't want to talk about it. But this is how you're going to win some of these recruiting wars. Think about if you could have sewn Dylan Moses or Landon Collins up when they were in 10th or 11th grade with an NIL deal that you had in place. Because in Louisiana, it's legal to pay high school athletes NIL deals.
Did this just get passed?
Yeah, it's brand new.
I mean, we talked about this whenever NIL first came out. We're like, watch what happens whenever it gets to high school. And I didn't think it would be in the 6 months. I thought it was going to, take a couple of years for them to be like, oh, is this okay? But this has moved so quickly that they're like, why not? I mean, there's still no rules in place. It's going to trickle down to high school kids. Of course it is. Imagine doing that deal where you're like, hey, I have a deal in place for you with a 15-year-old. Like, oh, in 3 years, you'll pledge to LSU and keep that? Like, no, there's no chance he's going to take the money or his parents.
So Haskell, I disagree with you wholeheartedly. I think that there's more of an emphasis now on these camps to make sure that you're getting these prospects in at a younger rate so you can establish and begin to form the relationship and really decide on who you got to pay. You know what I mean? Like, that's really what it is now. I mean, it's always been that, but now the discussion becomes a little bit more public, or at least public as far as the coaching office is concerned. You can talk about this stuff out loud. I mean, back in the day, you had to have your little kind of list where you were shuffling off to a booster and saying, make sure this guy gets a duffel bag. Or make sure we're able to pay this guy under the table because LSU needs him, or Auburn needs him, or Texas A&M, Alabama. All these schools have been doing it for so long, but now you're able to say, you get a freshman wide receiver in from North Louisiana this week if you're LSU, and you're able to say, heads up, come meet Gordon McKernan real quick. You guys talk, get to know one another. We'll set up a text chain. We'll keep in touch. Right? I mean, like, you may not want to hear it. You may not want to realize it, but that's the game now. And
it always has been.
Well, it's just been
under the table.
Yeah, it's just been off
of
our radar,
off the books.
Yeah, for sure.
Under the table.
For sure.
And then when you talk about relationships, you can have these guys that you can see who they're friends with and who you can maybe, all right, we have to offer him, but we really want him. Like that kind of relationship stuff. All that stuff happens at camps for the athletes. Like, they find out who they're kind of boys with, and they're like, oh shit, we want to play together. And like, all right, well, he's a 3-star, he's a 5-star. I'll take the 3 and the 5. I'll take the 3 to get the 5. Yeah. And that's what the camps are.
Remember Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works, #1 and the #2 business, specializing in all works of plumbing. That's industrial, commercial, residential. They're experienced carpenters. They have experienced carpenters on staff to help you out, whether it's an industrial remodel or a residential remodel. Get in touch with our friends over at Barker Brothers Plumbing. Only one way to do that. 225-776-2431. That's the easiest and only way to get in touch with Barker Brothers Plumbing. 776-2431. It's a 225 area code. If you mention the show, you'll save yourself 15%. Remember, they got a couple of trucks working East Baton Rouge every single day. They're located over in Plaquemine, working the west side, but they can also help you out over here on this side of the river. So they got 2 trucks every day. Call them today, 225-776-2431. No social media, no website. Demand's too high. Call them today, 225-776-2431. #1 and the #2 business, our friends Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works. Helping us out. We'll get you set for the hour, for the second hour. Ross Dellinger is set to be here in a couple of minutes. We will call him. No video call for Delly. Delly is on the road. He is driving this morning, and we will dial him up. We'll get the latest from Sandestin. We'll ask Delly how he worked on his base, on his tan going into the summer months as he heads back up to Washington, D.C., and what he learned from some of the most powerful people in college sports when we come back here on the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet.
Texas A&M. So weird. Blowing bubbles. What's that?
Southern Eye Centers, located at 6859 Jefferson Highway right here in Baton Rouge, has been serving your eyes for over 40 years in the capital region. They offer friendly service in a helpful environment with the highest level of personal care to manage your eye health and vision needs. If you want more information, log online to southerneyecenters.com. That is southerneyecenters.com. Stop in and check out their beautiful office located on Jefferson Highway right here in the capital city. And remember, each time you walk in there and you mention the Jordy Culotta Show, Dr. Ann Shaw and Southern Eye Centers will take 25% off of their fantastic selection of sunglasses. All you got to do is mention the Jordy Culotta Show. Check them out. southerneyecenters.com and located at 6859 Jefferson Highway.
The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you daily by Morales Roll-Offs. Morales Roll-Offs provides dumpster rentals for residential and commercial needs in Baton Rouge and surrounding areas. Morales has roll-off dumpsters ranging from 10 yards to 40 yards to accommodate all of your disposal needs. Search online, moralesrolloffs.com. The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you by Hebert's Lawn Maintenance. Commercial or residential, Hebert's Lawn Maintenance is ready to work. Hebert's can tackle all your homeowners association requirements. Call Blake at 225-485-8022. Hebert's Lawn Maintenance.
Do you have questions about your finances? Are you looking for recommendations from a skilled financial advisor? Get in touch with our friend Daniel Newman over at Edward Jones. You can find him easily by logging online and shooting him an email at daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. That is daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. Whether it is help with your 401k or just fiscal advice heading into the new season, get in touch with Daniel today. Best way to do it? Email him, daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. He's our experienced financial advisor. Let him be yours, daniel.newman@edwardjones.com.
Looking to book a dumpster but no idea how? We've made it quick and easy for you. Check out our website at moralesrolloffs.com. Let Morales Roll-Offs know your desired delivery date, and finally, provide your contact details. To make payment, look out for an email invoice with all your booking details. On delivery day, our driver will notify you through text and email that your dumpster is ready and on the way. Now you know how easy and convenient it is. Call Morales Roll-Offs at 225-427-0000 for your dumpster.
All right, welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Remember to check our friends out over at GoFlow IV, located on Jefferson Highway. Stop in and tell them you heard it right here on the Jordy Culotta Show and save yourself 15% off of your initial visit over at GoFlow, GEAUX FlowIV.com. Our friends over there have memberships available, 3-month, 6-month, and annual memberships. Baton Rouge's premier medical infusion and vitamin infusion and medical spa over there on Jefferson Highway. Go Flow IV, Geaux, flowiv.com. Ross Dellinger, as we said, we talked to him last time a couple of weeks ago, and he felt like a boxer in the 12th round of just a heavyweight fight. That was he wanted to tap out on all the NIL and transfer portal and keeping up with the new schools for players and some of the rules and what were the regulations and who was going to oversee it and Congress and legislation. It just felt like my man was covering news rather than he was covering college football and
having
sports.
To take pictures of documents is never the path you want to be on. Like get me out of here.
So what do they do for Delly over at SI? They send him down to Destin. Break out the thong flip-flops. Break out the collar and the board shorts. Send him down there for our little Real Housewives of the Southeastern Conference, featuring Jimbo Fisher and Nicholas Saban. No decision made on a schedule, and they're down there just drinking out of umbrellas and coconuts, working on their base tan. Delly, how we feeling, buddy? Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, guys. I wish I was able to do some beaching in Destin, but I was unfortunately holed up for 4 days in a cold hotel convention room and lobby. So, but at least, there are worse places to be in a convention hotel room than Destin. So I'll take that.
I agree. And Delly, I'd imagine that everybody was paying attention and wanted more drama from Fisher and Saban, and it looks as if the Southeastern Conference has put the cap on that. And you will not hear any more back and forth between the two former coworkers. But what did you take away from that storyline after being around those guys for a couple of days down at the beach?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the SEC probably made it known that it's in Greg Sankey, commissioner, honestly just said it publicly to us in one of his media availabilities. He said that he addressed with coaches and athletic directors the fact that they don't need to go out on silo, as he put it, to go out on your own and talk to the press. And so I think he kind of made it known not to do that. And so what happened is that all the drama unfolded the week before SEC meetings. And so SEC meetings really were kind of boring, a little bit on the boring side. And the fact that they didn't do, as you mentioned, didn't approve a scheduling model, made it even more boring. But so yeah, all the action kind of happened a week before. We were joking as writers down there that we wish that Nick Saban had waited and done his little thing in Destin.
Delly, you usually do your best work around the bar, gathering relationships and stories. Did you get any idea from coaches, ADs, on where the majority sits on this scheduling debate, whether or not it will be an 8 or a 9 game schedule? Do you have a feeling on where the majority of the conference is swayed?
I think the problem is there's not really a majority right now, and that's why they really didn't take a vote. Or at least they didn't come to a decision. They may have taken some kind of straw vote, but I think there's not a majority, or not a heavy majority, and that's kind of at issue. I think going in, and we wrote a story probably a couple weeks ago ahead of the Destin meetings about the situation. Going in, I think that it was, fairly split, but I think a lot of people that were in support of 8 games. They're obviously trying to decide between 8 and 9 games. And I think those in support of 8 games knew that probably they were going to have to come around, that it was going to be 9 eventually, like at some point at the end of the summer or the fall. I think after the meetings, that has changed.
Wow.
I think those in support of an 8-game schedule have actually gotten more support for that 8-game schedule, and part of that is because of the uncertainty around the college football playoff. I think a lot of teams don't want to play an extra SEC game if you don't know that the college football playoff is going to expand. I mean, everybody thinks it will eventually expand, but you don't know that. And even if it does expand, it's not expanding until 2026. So you'll have this new schedule, whatever it is, for at least 1 year while you have a 14 playoff. and that means adding an extra SEC game could be torpedoing an SEC team's chance of making the playoff. And so I think that's a big reason why some of those in support of 8 have gotten maybe some of those that were supporting 9 entering the week to kind of switch sides, so to speak. But not enough of them did it for them to make any kind of decision in Destin. So it does sound like they're still fairly split.
Wow. From a standpoint of speaking with Greg Sankey, Ross, it feels like over the last year and a half he has become the most powerful person in collegiate athletics. Do you get a feel on how his point of view right now is for college sports and the SEC in particular? What was your biggest takeaway from hearing from Sankey?
Yeah, I think when the university presidents arrived to Destin, most of them arrived on Wednesday and then met with the athletic directors in a big joint session on Thursday. It's kind of a big meeting for 2 or 3 hours in Destin on Thursday afternoon. And I think one of the big things that came up was not the scheduling stuff, but the future of college sports. Yeah. And I think that was discussed. There were some heavy items, as some ADs and Greg Sankey mentioned. There were some real heavy items discussed during that. And I think those included athlete employment, what to do about NIL, what to do about making athletes employees and trying to pay them directly. Is it possible? I mean, I think, revenue sharing, a lot of things were discussed and thrown against the wall. However, I don't think a lot of things were decided upon. And I don't know that anything they discussed really stuck on the wall. In fact, I was talking to Greg Sankey after the news conference on Friday, going through some of the things they discussed in that meeting. And he kind of, he was going through all the potential solutions for college sports and NIL and all that. And he kind of said, no solution really stuck on the wall. And that's the problem, is they can't, there's a problem, there's an issue with each solution when you go kind of down the list. And so they will keep on talking about it. And I think through the summer, by the end of the summer, you would think that they will have some kind of resolution on what to do in the transformation committee, which Greg Sankey is chairing, the NCAA transformation committee. So I think they'll probably come up with some stuff too, and some guidance on NIL and how to handle it and all. But we're definitely in the middle of a very changing time in college sports, and something that you could see some fairly radical suggestions eventually come out, and we all have to kind of be prepared for them. They're going to probably make a lot of people uncomfortable, like paying athletes directly. But we know now that's what's happening with NIL at a lot of places. And so why not regulate it in some way with athlete pay from the school or employee status? Those are things that are being discussed.
Delly, I think one of the bullet points that people aren't paying a lot of attention to, but is a major storyline of what the future will be, especially in the Southeastern Conference and around college football, is television revenue. You're adding Texas and Oklahoma to the conference, which is going to bring 2 more powerful brands, but a ton of television sets. What is the thought on what this revenue is going to look like? You mentioned that the paying the players. A lot of that salary that would be paid out, if that was agreed upon, would probably come from this resource. Yeah.
I mean, every school will probably immediately get a 30% raise upon their yearly media rights, revenue just cut, probably 30, maybe 50% of a raise. So a lot of that money, will. If they're going to pay athletes, football players, basketball, whatever, I mean, a lot of it would come out of that. I did fail to mention when we were talking about scheduling, I said the one reason that the 8-game model got a little bit more support during meetings is because of the uncertain future of the CFP. The other reason is adding a additional ninth conference game would not generate more revenue from the TV deal. You'd have to have ESPN come back to the table. And ESPN doesn't really have to come back to the table if it doesn't want to come back to the table. And as a university president, SEC university president told me in Destin, I wouldn't come back to the table if I were ESPN. I mean, why would you? You get more inventory for a lower price. So that's one of the sticking points as well in all of that, is that, you know, when Texas and OU come in, they will get a prorated kind of share of the SEC media rights deal. You know, so if everybody right now under the deal, if everybody gets $60 million a year, Texas and Oklahoma will as well get $60 million a year when they come in the league. So the package does increase, but it doesn't have anything in there about additional inventory, another conference game happening, and or producing more revenue. So that is definitely an issue.
How much of a presence did Texas and Oklahoma have last week?
Well, nothing. They were not there. They're not voting members yet, and they won't be until they actually officially join the league right now in the fall or July 2025. You know, it could happen a year early. That's a possibility. It probably is not going to happen any more than a year early. It'll happen in 24, 25. So that's when they get full voting membership. But they kind of made their stances known at a meeting earlier this fall with athletic directors and actually in New Orleans, that where they stand, I think, on a lot of issues. But they did not have representation there last week. How
did Brian Kelly do, or not do, but what did you make of Brian Kelly's first appearance at this event?
Yeah, he you know, one thing about Brian Kelly is he's really thoughtful on a lot of the issues facing college sports. You know, you have a lot of coaches who don't want anything to do with discussing issues and legislation and all that stuff, but Brian Kelly seems pretty comfortable discussing all that, and certainly offered some interesting views on that type of thing. Yeah, I think he was only, as I recall, he was only one of two coaches at the reception. Every Tuesday night they do a reception out on the beach. Media, everybody pretty much at the event is invited. It's just a cocktail reception with some hors d'oeuvres. And normally coaches stay away from that kind of thing, but Brian Kelly was there along with Nick Saban. He was the only two coaches there. So don't read in that too much. Don't get too excited.
So you're saying LSU's back. So Billy Ivy asks, and I would ask too, hashtag Ask Dellenger, did you get an idea of LSU's point of view? Did they want an 8 or 9 game schedule, or do you know on that?
Oh, they're definitely on the 9 game schedule, yeah. And I'll say, you know, the top half of the SEC wants a 9 game schedule, and the bottom half basically wants an 8 game schedule. That's kind of how it's split, and the SEC is very split on revenue generating lines and athletic success lines, and the historic athletic success, and LSU certainly in the top half of the league in both of those things, and they are very much for a 9 game schedule, which would include 3 permanent opponents and 6 rotational. You'd play everybody in both of the models. You'd play everybody twice in a 4-year span, home and away. The 8 game model is 1 permanent opponent, 7 rotational. 9 game is 3 permanents, 6 rotational. So a big drawback of the 8 game, obviously, is secondary rivalries you would not preserve.
I saw that crawfish that you were being served in Washington, D.C. Hopefully they did not dust those crawfish and they were properly seasoned.
They were. Hey, I boiled the crawfish, so there was no damn dusting going on.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you, buddy.
I had them flown up from Lafayette live. They arrived live on dry ice, and I boiled them up. They were 30 pounds, and we had about 10, 15 people over. Most who did not understand how to pick crawfish. So we did get through the sack, but I had to eat 10 pounds myself, I think.
Beautiful.
Which is okay.
Yes, which I'm sure you aced that test. It's great to hear from you, man. Glad to see you talking and writing about college football again. We'll talk again soon.
All right, man. See y'all.
All right, man. There is Ross Dellinger checking in. We go straight from Ross Dellinger. We're going to pick up a conversation with Doug Thompson. What you got?
We need that for the
okay, yeah. But is Cicero still there? Okay. We'll go straight to him. Remember, Daily, we are brought to you by Men's Total Health. Men's Total Health is located on Veterans Memorial over in New Orleans, menstotalhealth.net. If you're suffering from low T, stop in and see our friends over there, Mike Roach and his crew over in New Orleans, Louisiana, where they can help you out today at Men's Total Health, online at menstotalhealth.net. Menstotalhealth.net is where you find them online, as we will be back with president of the Greater New Orleans Sports Foundation, Jay Cicero, right after this on the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I got you. Can you hear me?
Jordy, you sound a little low on mine. I can barely.
All right, welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet, as we dive into our next conversation here with one of our favorites, Jay Cicero, who is from the Greater New Orleans Sports Foundation. We've done this now for 2 years, and we've been giving you an idea of this giveaway and just how special it is, man. It's as good of a giveaway as you will find. Only 1,500 raffle tickets are available for a grand prize that offers over 380 event tickets from Baton Rouge to New Orleans. LSU football, baseball, men's basketball, Tulane football, baseball, men's basketball, UNO baseball and basketball, Zurich Classic tickets, bowl tickets to the Sugar Bowl Classic, the kickoff game between LSU and Florida State, and the New Orleans Bowl, the All-State Sugar Bowl, Saints regular season, Pelicans regular seasons, NOLA Rugby Gold is on there as well. It's an incredible giveaway from one of our great foundations here in the state of Louisiana with the Greater New Orleans Sports Foundation that you can find out more online at gnosports.com. We go down and talk to their president, who is a great paisan, a great Italian-American, Jay Cicero here, who joins us live from his office down in New Orleans this morning. It's good to talk to you and good to see you again, sir. Good morning. How are you?
Great to see you too, Jordy. Appreciate you having me on today, and thanks for that great promo for our premier season ticket raffle. That is a fundraiser for the organization that we started a few years ago. Took a couple years off for COVID, of course. And started again last year, but this year it's back again. And as you said, it is a pair of tickets to all regular season home games: Saints, Pelicans, LSU football, basketball, baseball, Tulane football, basketball, baseball, UNO basketball, baseball, and a number of different other events, including the LSU Florida State kickoff game here at the Superdome over Labor Day weekend.
Jay, you mentioned it a little bit. Talk about it before we talk about the giveaway and what you guys have coming up. The Final Four was maybe the best Final Four that tournament has seen in recent memory. You've got a Super Bowl coming up in 2025. But what has been the challenges from your seat over the last couple of years, just dealing with the uncertainty of live sporting events?
Oh, Jordan, that's a great question. And we talked about it quite a bit here in-house. The challenges were widespread when you think about the decisions that you have to make as a local organizing committee that is responsible for the budget for a men's Final Four. And, you know, where that budget started when we bid in 2016 for the 2022 men's Final Four, and where it ended up obviously changed quite a bit, mainly due to the rising costs of personnel and the delivery of goods and services that were needed to execute and build out the Superdome, build out the convention center, and all the other major events that surrounded the men's Final Four. And we were very concerned that people weren't traveling back in January, and that we were talking about potentially canceling some of the ancillary events, not the competition itself, but the ancillary events with the NCAA. And everything was on the table. To go from there to what happened the first weekend of April here over the Final Four with those 4 teams, with the number of fans that traveled, and the sheer excitement of hosting that event here in the best city to host it was incredible. It was a complete turnaround. And so the decisions you had to make back over the last year and a half leading up to it were very conservative, because we didn't know if people were going to be traveling, and our budgets were based on people traveling. And people did travel, and now we're looking forward to finishing the recap with the NCAA and moving forward and working on the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. It was obvious the success on the floor from the Final Four, but just how good was it for the city?
It was incredible for the city. It was incredible for the NCAA.
Yeah.
Ticket sales were the highest that I've ever seen them. Not just in number of people, but at pricing. The city and state obviously benefited tremendously from the amount of people that came to New Orleans, and you had 70,000 people at the Dome for the semis and the finals. But it's more than that. There were tens of thousands that came just to hang out in French Quarter and at their favorite bar or restaurant and watch the games and enjoy everything that the French Quarter can supply and be during a major event. So the city, I think, benefited tremendously. And look, the economic impact set aside, the tremendous media exposure associated with a men's Final Four or some of these other major events like a WrestleMania or, of course, a Super Bowl, you really can't put a number on it. But that positive media exposure is something we all needed here. And it really gave us our mojo back. It gave us the confidence to move forward with other events, and that we can still do this and perform at a high level, and hopefully compete for events like this for many, many years to come.
Once again, showing off that sure, I'm biased, but the greatest city on earth to host anything, especially a sporting event, because of the how convenient the city is. You can walk everywhere, from restaurants to hotels to entertainment to music venues and everything that the city is able to offer. What is the preparation like for a Super Bowl? What goes into this? I know that you are very experienced in this field and getting prepared for this game, but what goes into this time period for getting ready for 2025?
Well, it's you say, wow, it's in 2025, but we're a little over 2.5 years out now, and the fundraising effort is starting soon. The overall planning and design of our host committee is starting now, working closely with the Saints. Of course, the Saints are in the Sports Foundation, are joined at the hip for a Super Bowl and hosting. And so we're working through all the high-level 30,000-foot decisions now with the goals in mind to obviously raise all the money necessary to fulfill all the obligations of the bid and to put New Orleans and the state of Louisiana in the most positive light we can, and taking advantage of all the opportunities that a Super Bowl can bring. So it's similar to a men's Final Four as far as the goals are concerned, except the Super Bowl is so much bigger than every other event that moves around the country on an annual basis. There's 8,000 credentialed members of the media that travel with Super Bowl. So they'll be here all week of the event. So preparing for that. How are we working the media to provide them the good things that are happening in Louisiana? How are we preparing to host them? How are we, making sure that we're taking advantage of that opportunity here? And that's just the media. There's a number of other areas that we're going to be focusing on in the next 2.5 years leading up to the game here in February of 2025 that the Sports Foundation and the Saints will be taking on.
GNOsports.com. Click on the events tab, and you can enter the premier season ticket giveaway raffle, which, as we said, has set the gold standard, in my opinion, for raffle giveaways. Jay, a little background on this giveaway and how successful it has been. I think everybody is always looking forward to this announcement when you guys open up the raffle period for this great giveaway, because I know we've been promoting it for a couple of years with you guys, but just how did it come to be, and how successful of a campaign is it truly?
Well, we sold out last year, a week ahead of our deadline, which was really wonderful, and we're urging people to go as quickly as they can to gnosports.com/win for more information and to buy tickets early, so they don't get shut out the last week of the raffle. So it has been successful. It supports our organization on a year-round basis, and it helps us in the administration of these events continue to bid upon and manage these events. We only have a staff of 10 and an army of thousands and thousands of volunteers, including our board of directors, that serve a major role in attracting and managing these events. Each one's a little different, and they require a lot of resources. And leading up to Super Bowl, we need every resource we can get in order to execute the goals that we have, and of course raise all the money necessary to fulfill all the obligations in the bid.
Always great to hear from you, sir. Thank you as always for the time. Continued success with everything that's going on down there with the foundation, and looking forward to scooping up our raffle tickets today.
Thank you, Jordy. Again, I urge everybody to go to gnosports.com/win as soon as possible, and hopefully join in this wonderful fundraiser for the Greater New Orleans Sports Foundation. Thanks,
sir. We've got the link live in our chat right now, so if you're inside the chat, you can click on it right there. We will see you soon, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Jordan.
Yes, sir. There he is. Great paisan, Jay Cicero, the president of the Greater New Orleans Sports Foundation, as he checks in again here before one of the great raffles. I think it has set the gold standard of raffles and giveaways, especially within our state, of what people look for. That conversation brought to you by our friends over at RMB Builders, Rhett Bourgeois and the crew over there. RMB-builders.com. RMB-builders.com is where you can find them, and you can find them there. The website's fantastic. Learn more how you can buy, build, or remodel the home of your dreams. So get in touch with RMB, RMB-builders.com. Great website, great to work with. As you've heard from a lot of our staff over here at the Jordy Culotta Show, Red has always been very easy to work with and done very quality work, high quality work over there at RMB. RMB-builders.com, RMB-builders.com. And we'll be back with more of the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet.
Hey y'all, it's Mikey from Mic'd Up. Catch us live every Monday and Wednesday, 11 to 1. Talk gambling, talk sports, have a ton of guests in here, get a little perspective from the athlete side of it. We got Lloyd in the house, Jay Mitch is in here a lot of the time. It's a fun show, great show. Please like, subscribe, share with your friends. If you don't like it, it's fine. Make fun of us, it's okay. Just get us out there, share us out there. We having fun, we want to share our fun with you. Like I said, Mic'd Up, brought to you by Sterling Automotive. Every Monday through Wednesday, 11 to 1. Catch us live on YouTube, baby. See y'all.
True Blue Water, true hydration at its finest. Right now, you're only a few minutes away from getting your 5-gallon water delivered to you, just like we are over here at the UDL. All you got to do is log on to truebluewater.com. That's TRU, bluewater.com. The website's fantastic over at truebluewater.com. You can get your service and find out how quick it is. You can schedule a delivery, even hop on the billing system right there at truebluewater.com. TRU, bluewater.com.
The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you by A-Bears Lawn Maintenance. Commercial or residential, A-Bears Lawn Maintenance is ready to work. A-Bears can tackle all your homeowners association requirements. Call Blake at 225-485-8022. A-Bears Lawn Maintenance.
Do you have questions about your finances? Are you looking for recommendations from a skilled financial advisor? Get in touch with our friend Daniel Newman over at Edward Jones. You can find him easily by logging online and shooting him an email at daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. That is daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. Whether it is help with your 401k or just fiscal advice heading into the new season, get in touch with Daniel today. Best way to do it? Email him, daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. He's our experienced financial advisor. Let him be yours, daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. All right, welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered to Go Chevrolet. Let's dive across town to a local boardroom as our guy is about to start his business day, but squeezes us in for a couple of minutes here to give us a preview of Game 7 in the Hattiesburg Regional, the greatest term in sports. Winner moves on. LSU and Southern Miss with a little bit more on the line. Whoever wins will host a super regional to the Coral Gables finale between Ole Miss and in Arizona over there. But to give us some insight on LSU is former All-American and now a part of the LSU Sports Radio Network and very successful local businessman Doug Thompson joining us here on the Jordy Culotta Show. DT9, thank you for the time. I know you're stressed for it this morning, so thanks for squeezing us in, man.
Of course. Thanks for having me. Anything for you, you know that. Jordy, man, how great is baseball? Before we even get started talking about that, just the sport in itself, how much fun is it to watch this game, especially when it's with college players who, I know they're making a little bit of money nowadays, but it's not professional yet, right? There's no contracts in place. There's no incentives for getting hits and RBIs, et cetera. These kids just want to win. It comes down to winning and losing. And it is baseball at its finest right now, all across the country. When teams' backs are against the wall, you see what they're made of. And some of these comebacks, like Texas A&M last night, Oklahoma State, I mean, it's just remarkable. But the sport in itself, just how awesome is it?
Dougie, you were a part of one of these great comebacks with LSU back in '98. You guys came back and beat Fullerton after trailing 9-2 in the fourth inning. What were you able to relate to what you saw this weekend on Friday and Saturday from the boys? 10-run eighth inning on Friday night versus Kennesaw State, then all the emotion on Saturday night versus Southern Miss to get that win in extra innings. What was your point of view of Friday and Saturday of LSU baseball?
Well, yes, I was able to relate, indeed. And in fact, I talked about that. Like I remember specifically back in the teams that I was on, regardless of the score, regardless of the inning, genuinely feeling like we were going to win the game. And that Cal State Fullerton game is one of my favorite of all time. I wasn't pitching, but I was having a good time running back and forth to home plate when we started to come back and, firing up the towel to get the old box, going. And man, in those moments, and I don't know if you sensed this watching it on TV the other night or either of the two nights, it just goes from like where it looks really hard to hit when you're watching on TV, where the pitcher's throwing, you're like, goodness gracious, how does anybody hit that? And then all of a sudden something changes to where it looks like this pitcher doesn't have a pitch that can get anyone out. And it's bizarre how it kind of changes like that. But that's how I felt watching them both nights. I was there Friday. And I just, well, first of all, a rally killer is usually when you lead off with a home run. The walk and the hit by pitch on Friday night. I really thought that we had a chance to come back starting right then, just because that's how baseball kind of works. Like the baseball gods don't allow you to get away with a walk and a hit by pitch in the bottom of the eighth when you're up by 7. That's just not how it works. It always comes back to haunt you. But it's been a lot of fun to watch, and one way or another, these Tigers will be remembered because of their fight, and they take it to the last minute. And last night, I feel like Southern Miss was even a little bit nervous there in the 9th inning. You could almost sense that they were gun shy and expecting LSU to come through. When Barry got the single with 2 outs, you could almost, they were panning the crowd, and you could see they didn't believe yet. They don't really believe that they can win. So that's why I like the Tigers today in Hattiesburg.
Yeah, I was going to tell you your feeling about going in today after everything you saw this weekend and leading up into this regional tournament. Where do you like LSU in a winner-take-all series, in a winner-take-all game like they'll face at 3 o'clock this afternoon?
Well, if you've been watching what I've been watching the last couple weeks, Jordy, I mean, I would have to be an absolute moron to bet against the Tigers. Their back's against the wall. I understand Southern Miss also has their back against the wall. It's the ultimate marble match. I mean, these guys get to not only play it out on the field today, but the winner gets to host the Super. I mean, this is what a turn of events. Southern Miss, I feel like the advantage is for LSU because Southern Miss has known, right, for weeks now, if they win, they're able to play at their home for the next round. For the Tigers, it wasn't like that. For LSU, some things had to happen in Miami, and now they know that there's an actual chance to turn on the lights again at the box. I mean, what more could you have in front of you to play for? And I got the Tigers all day in Hattiesburg.
What would you do from a pitching standpoint if you just had to navigate today after everything you've thrown?
Oh, gee. I don't really know. I tell you what, I know that back in 1997, if Mikhail Hilliard was Doug Thompson and he only threw 55 pitches on Friday night, there would be a meeting in Coach Burtman's hotel room on Sunday night to get the confirmation on whether I was good to go or not. And if that happened, there's no question in my mind that Mikhail Hilliard said he's ready. I mean, 55 pitches with 2 days rest. It's not unspeakable or unheard of. So don't be surprised. But Jordy, I mean, I've got no idea. So this is total speculation. Sure. And what I would do and what I would consider are conversations being had. But there's a lot of big arms out there. Gervais is still good. Although I wasn't excited about Raiselman last night, he still throws almost 100 miles an hour and could be, of course, very valuable out of the bullpen. Devin Fontenot, I think, should be back and ready for tonight. But it's always about that one guy you don't expect, right? Like, I mean, every year, going in the postseason, you're thinking about who the usual suspects are and who it could be. But then lo and behold, it ends up being Javen Coleman at Oregon, or, Garrett Edwards. And you just really never thought about that happening. And I feel like that's what we have to see tonight, at least for a couple innings. Someone unexpectedly has to come out there and keep the game under control, kind of like Fontenot did on Friday night.
You mentioned Razelman a little bit before while you were talking. Have you ever been in a situation like that or seen something like that where obviously the crowd got into him a little bit. It causes a balk where he's just absolutely feels probably like the loneliest man on the planet on the mound.
Yeah, of course. Again, we talk about these guys getting on the field and earning spots and being able to perform, and that's part of it. Everybody can throw in a bullpen in an empty stadium and pepper that mitt and pop that mitt all day long and hit your spots. When you pour people in there, especially in a hostile environment, how does your heart beat then? Can you breathe? And I'm not saying that's what happened to Razelman last night. He's obviously pitched well on the road at times this year. And I'm not so sure that the crowd had anything to do with his performance. But, yeah, absolutely, I know how that feels. And, yes, your heart does accelerate. That breathing does accelerate. And I tell my young pitchers all the time, in order to be a good pitcher, you either have to have a constant low heartbeat, and I think you guys as athletes kind of know what I'm talking about. There's some guys that are just always low-key, and it doesn't really matter the situation. Those guys have a great chance to be pitchers later in life. And then the other way is the kid that does get really emotional has to be able to use that energy for the good, right? And not everybody can do that on the pitcher's mound. And again, I'm not sure what was, Razelman really hasn't pitched that much over the last couple weeks, so it could have been a little bit of rust. But again, guy throws 100 miles an hour, and if I'm Jay Johnson, I don't hesitate to throw him out there if I need him today.
Dougie, the lifetime baseball fans or the longtime LSU baseball fans, I think – almost came to expect the greats that have come through here over, since the Walker, the Johnsons, all these guys that have run through here. How good is Cruz? How good is Dylan Cruz and what he's playing at right now?
Man, right up there at the top. I mean, Walker, Furness, Cruz, Larson. I mean, that's where we are at this point, fellas. I've asked several people this question. And it's one that some really need to think about, right? Like, if Dylan Cruz would have never come to LSU, would he, at the end of this year, make a September call-up and next year very likely be on an opening day roster in the big leagues? If that's the case, if you think that's the truth, then the next question is, okay, have we ever seen that?
Do you?
Because,
do you think that's the truth?
Well, I do.
Wow.
I do, and it's hard to say with Bregman, right? He came to college for two and a half years. He spent about 2.5 years in the minor leagues. So Bregman got up there pretty quick. Todd spent some time in the minor leagues, and you can go on down that list, right? But with this kid, my question is, was Todd Walker necessarily ready for the big leagues his junior season at LSU? I'd have to really go back and look. Todd was obviously one of the greatest of all time. The guy hit 400.
Sure.
Probably I would guess he was ready to hit at that level at that time. I don't know about defend. This cat, number 3, I don't see why, I guess maybe, if he can't handle a wooden bat, but I don't see that. That swing's too good. He's too smart. Baseball IQ off the charts. He makes ridiculously difficult plays in center field look routine. That's the question. That's the interesting piece about Dylan Cruz. Is this the first time, Albert Bell, Joey Bell, might have been a big leaguer back in that purple and gold. But he's right up there with you name him, you name the greatest. And the question is, was he closer to the big leagues than Dylan Cruz would have been right now if he wouldn't have gone? And I think that we'll all get a chance to watch a very good baseball player next year, if not a Major League Baseball player wearing purple and gold with an aluminum bat, which is going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Wow, that is going to be crazy. Doug Thompson, former All-American and a part of the LSU Sports Radio Network. It is going to be a great day of college baseball, man. It cranks up at 11 o'clock this morning.
Dougie, before we get you out of here, I know you have to get back to your meeting, but from a pitching standpoint, you kind of started to see some of the bad LSU defense, some of the old habits come back to life. What do you do as a pitcher when you don't really know if you can trust your guy back there? You see a couple of pass balls, and you start seeing, some of the kinks in the armor.
Well, some of these plays that I've been watching, a lot of it has to do with this turf. I mean, the ball accelerates quickly off the turf. I mean, LSU wins the game on Friday night with the chopper that was just chopped 50 feet in the air off the turf. So I never let that really bother me, right? Like for me, I was always trying to strike everybody out, so I didn't have to really worry about who was behind me on defense. And the teams I played for hit 6 or 7 home runs a game, at least it felt like. So I never really let that, so and so's out in left field now. Like I just feel like that's something that most pitchers don't really think about. There's too much to think about with. Yeah, I mean, but the coach usually tries to make sure that pitcher-catcher combination makes sense to the pitcher and that the pitcher's comfortable. So, no, again, like I never really was in a situation where I had to pitch to a catcher that I wasn't really comfortable with. Those things are usually kind of almost understood and unspoken in some cases. But, so I never really – that never really concerned me, the ability of my defense behind me.
Have a great day, buddy. Thank you for checking in.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
All right, man. There he is, Doug Thompson, with a little insight this morning on where LSU goes this afternoon and his thoughts on Game 7 of the Hattiesburg Regional. That'll be first pitch 3 o'clock for you, with the winner advancing to the Supers, and whoever wins is going to host Super Regional play at their place. So LSU has an opportunity to be a host site for Super Regional baseball if they can get through 9 innings today or more, whatever it takes to get past Southern Miss in this Game 7 matchup at 3 o'clock this afternoon. Conversation brought to you by City Cafe, citycafebr.net. citycafebr.net is where you can find them online. Great lunch day specials. They've got great brunch that cranks up at 10 o'clock on Sunday mornings, and that's where good friends meet. Go check out City Cafe, over 100 years in business. You got questions about private parties and events, they got great space over there on the corner of O'Neill and George O'Neill. Squeaky Miranda, Cody Miranda, Dirk and the crew taking care of us over there at City Cafe. Let them take care of you. Lunch today, great specials, online, citycafebr.net. We'll be back and close it out here on the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Ghost Chevrolet. Southern Eye Centers, located at 6859 Jefferson Highway right here in Baton Rouge, has been serving your eyes for over 40 years in the capital region. They offer friendly service in a helpful environment with the highest level of personal care to manage your eye health and vision needs. If you want more information, log online to southerneyecenters.com. That is southerneyecenters.com. Stop in and check out their beautiful office located on Jefferson Highway right here in the capital city. And remember, each time you walk in there and you mention the Jordy Culotta Show, Dr. Ann Shaw and Southern Eye Centers will take 25% off of their fantastic selection of sunglasses. All you got to do is mention the Jordy Culotta Show. Check them out. southerneyecenters.com and located at 6859 Jefferson Highway. Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in Laplace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard. True Blue Water.
True hydration at its finest. Right now, you're only a few minutes away from getting your 5-gallon water delivered to you, just like we are over here at the UDL. All you got to do is log on to truebluewater.com. That's TRU, bluewater.com. The website's fantastic over at truebluewater.com. You can get your service and find out how quick it is. You can schedule a delivery, even hop on the billing system right there at truebluewater.com. TRU, bluewater.com.
The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you daily by Morales Roll-Offs. Morales Roll-Offs provides dumpster rentals for residential and commercial needs in Baton Rouge and surrounding areas. Morales has roll-off dumpsters ranging from 10 yards to 40 yards to accommodate all of your disposal needs. Search online, moralesrolloffs.com.
Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. We are taking a look at Prince William and Kate Middleton's kid.
The tyrant.
Kid's a tyrant.
I guess his name, this would be Prince George. There's 3 of them. I'm looking at their names. Prince George.
It's Dennis the Menace is who he is.
Princess Charlotte, and then Prince Louis. This might be Prince Louis, the
Louis.
4-year-old.
Prince Louis.
There is video that has come across from...
Is it
Prince
Louis?
It's the
Oh,
4-year-old?
yeah. I mean, he was.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they were damned since birth.
It's
Always the youngest.
It's during the Queen's Platinum Jubilee pageant.
Oh, he's supposed to be on his best behavior.
Yeah.
He's on his worst behavior. I mean, he's
Stewie, you
waiting
got
to
the
step
video.
out.
We're gonna be able to play this, right? We make sure we give credit to whoever's video we're stealing.
The Queen.
But I mean, this kid is just
So bad.
A-level asshole. I mean, look at him covering his mom's face up in his mouth.
That's the best part. It's with the nanny boo boo.
Look, she's like, stop. Sticks his tongue out again.
What do I have to do to get you to behave for 30 seconds?
There's another one that comes. That must be his sister behind them that's standing behind him because she reaches her head over in a later social media clip. Go back to it, Stewie. Where you could, like the kid over his right shoulder, that little girl right there in the blue dress. Mm-hmm. In a later social media clip, she kind of like peeks her head over, and you can tell she's like, "Stop!" And he just like takes her hair and just yanks it down to the cushion of the seat.
It's just on his worst behavior.
It's just a total shithead, man.
You've never seen this kid step in the light of day, and he's like, "Oh, it's my time to shine, baby." We tried to get Louis ready, and we couldn't do it.
Are we going on network television tonight?
Let's go.
That's right.
You thought tonight was about grandma? You're about to meet the king.
I mean, what a play, bro. This kid.
This should make America nervous.
Yeah.
Yes.
Start
Make the
preparing.
world nervous.
Yeah, start preparing for the future.
I mean, keep the old man alive, for God's sakes.
We need to save him. Oh, my God. What a bad
Incredible
kid.
video. Look.
He's going to break her arm.
What'd you say?
I mean, what do you even do when you go home?
It was like a slight tug.
Look, and the way he sits and acts is unbelievable. Like, he's so proper about it. He's like, this is just who I am.
He's like, I'm gonna break your arm.
Yeah, they just put up with it. Yep, pull,
This
sit
kid-
back in the seat, start watching again.
This kid runs the world.
No doubt, he runs the house.
Sucks his thumb after.
Yeah, I think he might be too developed. Like he might be a genius. Like because he's acting like I'll rule the roost. I don't know what y'all think y'all are talking to.
Give me Putin.
Yeah. Donnie Trumpet's on the line.
Where old man Joe at? Is he dead yet?
That's dangerous. Menace to society.
The whole royal family thing is weird, though.
So weird.
It's a strange deal, man. I mean,
Did they kill the queen?
But Prince Louis could bring me back.
Yeah, Prince Louis gives us hope.
He could make me a believer.
They need to do they need to do a reality show around this kid. Like get me. They probably want to hide him. Like I swear to God, that's the first
No
time
doubt.
he steps out in the light of day in public attention. And the worst part of it is Kate Middleton can't do anything because she has to be.
Yeah.
She's on camera I want to backhand this son of a bitch so bad.
I mean, probably from a league, he's probably more tied in than she is.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
Do you know who I know?
you can be replaced, Mom.
Yeah.
I can't.
I'm blood.
You know what I mean? Yeah, right.
Grandma hates you. I'm her favorite. That's good. We're in trouble.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I'm voting for him.
King Louis.
Form a coup with him now.
Make sure to hit that like button, share button, comment button. We appreciate you being here.
He's just riding corgis around the royal estate. Like,
Lloyd, I'm gonna put you on the spot. What
ah.
are you gonna do at 3:00 this afternoon?
We will not do a game, but we will
Okay.
start the stream earlier than usual. I'm going to talk to Mikey, and we're probably going to watch the rest of the game. Mic'd up for sure from now on from 6 to 8. Works out perfectly for today. You'll be able to catch the end of the baseball game. If you've watched any of this year, they've gone probably longer than 3 hours. I would say runtime. We could ask Dougie T. He knows it better than anybody. They've been around 5. So what I think we'll do is we'll have the game on in here. Jared Mitchell, Mikey Mattug,
Nice.
and then we will live record the end of the game and their reaction, and then go straight into a post-game show. And we also have Rachel Demita on from Caesar Sportsbook. She is on the NBA 2K beat. Yes. And so she will come on the show and give us gambling advice, life advice, marry me. I don't know, but worth it. She'll be on the show. Hopefully, get a video call.
We will have a
have to give me your
promo
phone
code.
number.
We will have a promo code for the Culotta Show, Jordy Culotta Show, and Where My Dog's At from Caesars starting tomorrow. So be looking out for that, as we will be incorporating a lot of gambling talk here into the Jordy Culotta Show. Rohan and the crew on Thursday nights. We'll be talking a little bit of gambling as Ro will have his pick six for you come football season. So a lot of cool stuff happening around here in our partnership with Caesars, man. We are excited about it. Make sure that you are downloading the Caesars Sportsbook app, and we will have the promo code for you to follow here tomorrow.
Yeah, wait 1 second and download it with the promo code you'll be able to put in, and it'll give you, I believe, what we've talked out with Mic'd Up is promo code is MIKDUP15, the numerals, and you get $1,500 of free play. So it's a $1,500 free bet. I don't know why you wouldn't want to do it. Throw it all on the Tigers. I did a little parlay. LSU in the LSU money line. Over under is 10.5. Took the over. Let's make a little money today.
And if you are
Hit a 3-leg parlay yesterday.
This guy has like 19 bets open.
Yeah, I did. I exposed myself.
Man,
I have
it's
16. I have 16 bets pending,
I would expect
all on
nothing
college
less.
baseball.
I would expect nothing less.
I haven't watched any teams play this year except for LSU. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just shooting in the dark. I've got some advice from a friend that is 16-1 right now.
Wow.
He's on an absolute heater.
Wow.
So I'm just betting with him blindly.
Some luck.
I send the picks to Mikey every day, and he's like, "Well, I'm not betting. Why am I not gambling on this?" I'm like, I tell you to. I give you the picks.
Pull the trigger.
Pull the trigger.
Check out FM's new website. If you're looking for FM digital media, check out fm.co. That is EFFEMM. Easy way to remember the spelling of FM is it's 2 E's, 2 F's, 2 M's. EFFEMM. EFFEMM.co is where you can find the website. Brand new website. Check it out as you can learn what we got going on over here, and we'll continue to feed that and talk about our capabilities over at FM Digital Media. FM.co. Have a great Monday. Great start to the week.
What's the game where you spin the wheel and guess the letters?
Wheel of Fortune?
Wheel of Fortune. This would be a great Wheel of Fortune where you would be like, is there an E? Oh, 2 E's. Is there an F? Oh, 2 F's. Is there an M? 2 M's. All right, we're good. Done. Double up. Thank you, Vanna.
F-fum?
Yeah. And then you can't read it correctly and you get it wrong.
F-fum?
The Les Miles.
F-fum? Yeah, right. If you get lost, it's just F-em.
Yeah. Have a great day.